Look into the mirror and confront the cold truth. Are you ascending the heights of power, or are you merely waiting for your turn to be trampled? The modern corporate landscape is not a playground for the virtuous. It is a ruthless battlefield reserved for the predators. To ignore this reality and live according to a moral ideal is to sign your own death warrant. You cling to the delusions of shared culture and team solidarity, yet such naivety is the primary cause of your eventual ruin. Understand this fundamental truth. Men are, by their very nature, ungrateful, fickle, and driven by an insatiable greed. They will swarm around you in the glow of your success, but they will be the first to sharpen their blades for your back the moment the winds of fortune shift. Never deceive yourself into thinking that today's favor can purchase a lifetime of loyalty. He who believes that new benefits will cause great personages to forget old injuries is deceived, and in truth, such a man is merely digging his own grave. In this arena, if you do not strike with the decisive weight of a lion, you will be outmaneuvered by the stealth of a fox. In the relentless race for dominance, he who refuses to be cruel when necessity demands it will inevitably become the launchpad for another's rise. Results are the only currency that matters, and the ends will always justify the means in the eyes of history. Adapt your conduct to the harshness of the times immediately, or prepare to be extinguished by those who have already discarded their conscience.
Why does a manual penned in 1513 serve as the ultimate blade for a CEO in 2026? It is because the city-states of the Renaissance have merely been rebranded as global corporations, and the territory you pursue is now your market share. True leadership resides not in the hollow, idealistic slogans of modern management, but in the cold-eyed mastery of power flows and human reality. Are you absorbing a rival through a strategic merger? Disregard the sanitized data of financial audits and focus your gaze instead on the absolute control of the men you have inherited. If you take command of a new organization, you must neutralize the influence of the previous leadership instantly. To let them remain is to allow a hidden enemy to sabotage your foundation from within. You desire to construct a powerful personal brand. Then you must become a great pretender, an expert architect of public perception. Exhibit a facade of mercy, integrity, and devotion before the eyes of the multitude, for men judge generally more by what they see than by what they feel. Yet you must keep your mind so framed that you are ready to pivot to the opposite extreme the very moment the survival of your empire demands a ruthless hand. In this era where information is the primary weapon of war, your most effective armor is a strategic lack of transparency. Never reveal the true strength of the cards in your hand to those who profit from your failure. And above all, do not seek shelter in the false peace of neutrality, for to be lukewarm is to be forgotten. In the boardroom, as on the battlefield, the neutral is the first to die. Choose a side or be crushed. Do you crave the summit, that rarefied height where your every command is obeyed with a chilling fusion of respect and dread? To be loved is a precarious gamble, but to be feared is a strategic certainty. Love is merely a thin cord of obligation that men sever the instant their own interests are imperiled. But fear is a heavy shackle maintained by the dread of punishment, a force that never fails and never betrays you. To reach this peak, you must master virtue, your own cold decisiveness, and the skill to command the human pieces on your board, so that you are prepared to subdue the wild river of Fortuna. Fortuna is not a deity to be worshipped with prayers. She is a woman who yields only to the bold and the audacious. You must be prepared to handle her with a firm, even violent hand, for she allows herself to be mastered by the adventurous rather than by those who act with cold hesitation. Stop waiting for the market to stabilize or for your peers to grant you permission. Create your own stability through absolute self-reliance. A prince who depends on the goodwill of others or the shifting winds of luck is already a ghost. Build your foundation upon your own strength alone, for that is the only security that is lasting and certain. When necessity compels you to eliminate a competitor or exile a traitor from your organization, strike with such overwhelming force that the very idea of retaliation is extinguished. Kindness in the face of betrayal is merely the coward's mask for a slow suicide. Men avenge slight insults, but are paralyzed by great injuries. Therefore, if you strike, leave no chance for revenge. This is the only path to a success that is not merely achieved, but sustained through the ages.
The hour for flowery rhetoric has passed. The time for execution is here. Cease your idle dreaming of a fair world, for he who neglects what is done for what ought to be done effects his own ruin rather than his preservation. If you wish to build an empire that endures, you must first look at the mirrors surrounding you. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Purge the flatterers who poison your judgment with their self-complacency, and keep only those who dare to utter the cruel, unvarnished truths you demand. Dedicate your mind to a single purpose. A prince must have no other object, nor any other thought, nor take anything else as his art but that of war and its discipline. In your world, war is the ruthless acquisition of market share and the cold mastery of corporate power. To neglect this art is the first way to lose your state. To be a master of it is the only way to win one. Understand that in the arena of ambition, your foundations are only as strong as the arms you command and the laws you enforce. Do not leave your destiny to the fickle whims of fortune, for she is a woman who yields only to the bold and must be mastered with audacity. Build your own forces, a cadre of loyal subordinates whose interests are inextricably bound to your own rise. Do not wait to be assaulted by the shifts of the market or the conspiracies of rivals. Strike hard and strike early, for disorders are easily remedied in the beginning, but become incurable if you wait for them to approach. Take the lead in the new order, for he who relies on his own virtue and resources is rarely endangered. The throne of dominance stands vacant, awaiting the one with the nerve to seize it. You must choose now, act with the decisive weight of a predator, or accept the chains of a slave to another man's ambition. Real-world power is not a simple popularity contest. It is a practical art, mastered only by those who study reality as it is. The opportunity is yours, but the deliverance is of no avail if it does not depend upon yourself. Choose your path. The world is watching.